Yeah. Thank you for this informative information.
Yeah, that was brilliant walkthrough there from you, Christina. And it will be a great set of slides. If we can also share those, we'll put them on the District 73 website, because there's a heap of things there if you weren't already aware, and I'll put that link in as well in just a moment. Well, we need to give time now to our third presenter, Michelle. Are you ready there, Michelle?
I am ready indeed, Carol.
Fantastic. Now, Michelle is a distinguished Toastmaster all the way from South Australia, and in one of the leading clubs, leading as in adoption rate for Pathways. So Michelle has a fair amount of knowledge about how to enthuse. So over to you, Michelle.
Thank you, Carol. So I'm going to share my screen because I have actually uploaded information that I'm going to be sharing with you tonight to the Free Toast host site for my advanced club that I'm a member of. So I'll share that with you now. And I'll copy the URL into the chat box if I can. No, I can't. But it's leadershipsatoastmasters.org. And from the side of the main menu here, I've created a page called Pathways Tutorials. This is a page that I found on another Free Toast host site, and I thought, oh, that's awesome. I really want to copy that and add that to my own home club. So that's what I've done. So I'm not going to go through all of the tutorials, but you can do this at a later stage if you'd like to for yourself. There's some information about what is Pathways, how do I start and complete a project, how do I download evaluation forms, how do I upload filled evaluation forms, and completing other meeting roles. But what we're actually going to be talking about tonight, Carol, correct me if I'm wrong, was the evaluation of projects. But do we need to touch on completing a project first? Because
yeah, I would say so. Completing a project would be great to start with.
Awesome. So we might go with the how do I start and complete a Pathways project? Because although Christina covered how to navigate through the site, the actual completing of a project wasn't covered in detail there. So we'll go over that again. So when you're starting a Pathways project, you go into Basecamp, you select opening your curriculum, just as Carol and Christina both did. You launch that project. Is the screen following through? Are you able to see what I'm showing you as I'm speaking?
All good. Well done.
Okay. So as Christina said, when your page first comes up, the page will look like this, and then you'll have access to that little navigation bar at the bottom of the page. Resize the window, as Christina said. You can select the project tech list, and you'll be asked to, you'll need to make sure that you complete the assess your skills before questionnaire, as well as giving your evaluation to the person that's going to be giving the evaluation to you. Once you've actually completed your project, you log back in and you'll complete the assess your skills after questionnaire. So once that's actually done, you will see a little tick appear on your education transcript page, and that will be at the point where you'll be able to, with the icebreaker, that will be completed. Did I go through that too quickly, or is that okay?
Yeah.
That's okay?
No.
So once you've completed that project, you'll get an email from Toastmasters International, and they'll ask you to give an evaluation of that project. It's completely optional, but if you do actually complete the evaluation of how you found the project, then Toastmasters International will be able to get a feel from all of the members as to how we found things and offer suggestions of where we might improve pathways. So Carol showed you one method of doing that earlier, was from the transcript page. But if you go back into, if you use the link that TI sends you, or you go back into Basecamp, once you see that your little tick appears, that you've completed that project, it will then change to, in the first 10 days of you completing that project, you'll have the option to click on the button that says evaluate. Once you do that, it will open another window. You'll continue, you'll get the information about why the feedback is important, continue, and then you'll be presented with a questionnaire. I think Carol had a screenshot of what some of the questions look like in her demonstration. I'm not sure if you've got that still handy, Carol, but I do recall seeing that. It was like, they ask you things like, was this appropriate to your club? Was this appropriate to in your home life? And there's like a scale of 1 to 5. So that's the evaluation once you've completed a project. Does that make sense?
Excuse me, may I ask a question?
Yes, please do.
I just finished my icebreaker, and then in the club meeting, the members provide me feedback verbally.
Yeah.
I took some note myself. So does that mean I still need to bring a form or send a form for some of the members to complete it for me?
Yes, so if they haven't actually given you a written evaluation, you should be taking along an evaluation form before you commence a speech, and then your evaluator will give that to you. You will then have the option of either keeping it for yourself, or you can actually upload that to you have a little space in the FreeToast hosts, not in the FreeToast host, in Basecamp, where you can save your evaluations. I can show you where that is now, since we're on that subject, as long as we're still okay for time, Carol.
Yeah, we are. We're only at 6 minutes.
We're at 6 minutes? Okay. So how do I upload a field evaluation sheet? So once you have printed your form, taken it to the meeting, you've got that written feedback from your member, so perhaps you can email this form to that member that's given you verbal feedback, and you can then scan the document. Once you go into Basecamp, there are a couple of different places where you can save this. And what you need to do is go to your e-portfolio, which comes up in the top of your Basecamp window. There will then be a big documents icon. You can click onto there, and that will have a separate folder for each of the different levels and a separate My Documents location. You can then click on Add File, and then this is a place for you that nobody else can access, where you can save your evaluation forms.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
No problem.
And sorry to interrupt the flow there with my added files, but whilst you were speaking, Michelle, I uploaded a copy of the icebreaker evaluation into the chat. So if you are able to access the chat pod from where you are, you can simply download it from there. And whilst I was there, I found the image of the adoption rates, and that's sitting there as an image file for you to collect.
Awesome. So I'll continue on. So Pathways tutorials once again. So once you've done that pre and post evaluation and you've completed that project, as part of level 1, we're going to be doing an evaluation. There's a place where you can record things like evaluations, where you've been a timer, where you've been a Toastmaster, a grammarian, and these type of roles at the club. So I'll show you to complete those other meeting roles. and there's a bit of an information at the top of the page as to what those roles are. And before you complete, you can advance to level 4, you need to have done the general evaluator, speech evaluator, Toastmaster and Topics Master. So how you update these are, you go to the top, to the gear icon at the top right of your screen in Basecamp, and then click on My Account. You'll look for the box for the meeting role which you've completed, which might be Timer, Toastmaster, Topics Master, for example. And then use the date, select a date or the calendar icon to be able to enter the date that you've served that role. And you can do this every time that you complete that role so that you can be attributed to multiple paths down the track for yourself. Once you've finished adding your meeting role dates, select Save at the bottom right of the page, and your Basecamp profile will now show the updates that you've made to your meeting roles. You can check your Basecamp profile by going to the Basecamp profile About Me option right at the top of when you're in Basecamp. Once you've completed a level, you can actually print your own certificate off. So I'll show you briefly how to do that. So you need to complete all of the projects within that level. And once you've done that, and you've made sure that you've had check marks next to each of the individual projects within that level, you can then use the button that it's at the very bottom of every single level and activate this. You'll select Launch to progress the completion of that level. So the button itself changes words, changes the word that is on there. And then mark complete. So then once you've marked it complete, it will then show as pending completion approval. So this is all you can do at this stage. It's now over to one of the Vice President of Education, the President of your club, or the Secretary of your club that will need to do some actions in Basecamp to be able to update this for you. So they'll get an email once you've marked it complete to go into Basecamp themselves and action this for you. Once they've done that, you'll get another email, and when you come back into Basecamp, you'll see that the level 1 completion, or level completion, has then been marked as completed, and a check mark will be shown there. You'll also notice that the completion percentage for this level has been updated to be 100% as well. And you'll be able to access the next level projects. So back at the bottom of that first level, you will then see a View Certificate. The button will then change once again to read View Certificate. You can then open the certificate and print it off if you wish. Is that clear as well?
That's very good, Michelle.
Any other questions?
Question from Debbie Rose.
Yes, there's always a question for me.
I've got a question.
That's okay.
I've got a question.
Well, you can go first, Helen.
Oh, sorry. I didn't realise I was audible. But why do they still have launch when they're completed? See, on the levels, the different projects, once you've completed them and they've got the checks, why is there still the launch on that button on the right-hand side when there's no need to?
You might be talking to someone about how do you complete a project, and you might want to go back and review it again and have a look at it. So you can, it just allows you to be able to access it again and completed it if you want to. You don't have to, it's just an option.
That means that once you've completed everything, it's still open and active.
Yes, it's your path once you've purchased it.
Oh, I get it. Yeah.
My question, and I know a couple of other clubs have had the same issue, when someone does complete their level, the email's not coming through. So we're asking them when they do, we know they're going to do it.
So
Can
the
they just
email's
also
not coming
email?
through?
Yes.
Okay, so I can actually tell you where the email is sent to, and I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to go to toastmasters.org, and I'm going to look for my own club because I know that's where it is, in the Find a Club. Right, because that's where I am. And I'm actually looking for the Leadership SA Toastmasters because that's the club that I'm a Basecamp manager for. And it's actually the contact club, that the email that's attached to that is where the emails go to for your Basecamp managers.
Okay.
Now, I know Carol's an Easy Speak expert and she can probably tell you with how Easy Speak deals with these emails, but in Free Toast Host, this is probably a subject for a Basecamp managers session, but I'll try and explain it as best I can. In Free Toast Host, there's an option to have one single email contact for your like VP, president, and your secretary, who are your Basecamp managers. And that's set up in the email section of Free Toast Host for your club. And any of those emails that are set up within Free Toast Host or from this website is where those emails are going to go to. So if you've only got those emails set up as going to one particular individual, then that's going to cause potential issues if that person is away on holidays or whatever the case may be.
Okay. So this club contact on the TI site is, it will mirror Free Toast Host, is that correct?
If you have the contacts set up correctly in Free Toast Host, that is where the emails will go to. It might be easier if I go into the Free Toast.
So whatever's in Free Toast Host transfers to the TI site, is that correct? Because we use all three. We're now on Easy Speak as well.
Yep.
And we've got a Free Toast site as well.
Let me just open my club Free Toast Host site. Oh, I was already on there.
Because we thought we had sorted it out, but it's still not operational.
I don't believe the Free Toast or Easy Speak is linked to the Toastmasters websites.
No.
I agree with Amit.
Independent. So
They're
how you
independent.
set up each of the emails. I think what Michelle is saying is whatever email you set up under your club's profile, that's where the mails will go to.
Yeah.
Okay.
It depends
So
on who's accessing them, whether it's the president, your VPM or VP.
Okay. So then it would be best to go back to Club Central and
Yes.
the club.
Where you set up, how you set up your club and set up.
Excellent. That will be where it is.
So at our club, because we have the contact at leadershipsatoastmasters.org email address enabled, that's why when you go back to the TI website and you go to Contact Club, that will send an email to contact@leadershipsatoastmasters.org. Does that make sense?
It does now. Thank you.
Awesome.
Just a quick comment. When a member submit an approval on Basecamp, it will automatically send to the Basecamp managers. So that means the president, vice president, the vice president of education, and secretary. So those three, when you set up your officers in Toastmaster International websites, so automatically when a member submits project completion, they will be automatically sent to those three people, to those three, the president, vice president, and the secretary. So the Basecamp managers, basically.
No, it hasn't been operational. And another club that I'm secretary in, same thing, it wasn't coming through there either.
My club
So,
either.
It will be the email address that was set up for
That's right.
those in your in TI. So check the
Yes.
club roster.
yes, that's so
Profile.
now I know where to channel it. Thank you.
Well, that was an excellent question from you, Debbie Rose. It took us quite a while. Are there any other questions for Michelle?
I have one. You mentioned about the roles, the meeting roles that you can. I've seen that in the Basecamp, and I know that there's a project level that you require to complete those roles before you for level completion. Does it actually use that to check, or that's just for information? So meaning if I'm a member, I'm about to complete that level that requires those meeting roles, and I haven't put those dates, will it not allow me to, will it reject, or it will not say that you are not eligible? Yes, Debbie?
Yeah, I know that answer. It will reject it.
It will reject. So you must, so all members must enter their meeting roles.
Correct. Yes, because it was a whole thing on the forum the other day.
Yeah.
So that bit I'm over and above, even though no one's near it.
Okay.
So.
So good thing we have Easy Speak then. All right, cool. Thanks.
Well, yes, to monitor and record, so they've got somewhere to go back when they
And
say,
check,
when
yeah.
did I do this?
Yeah.
A good point, because the VPE needs to be on their toes to double check if
Yeah.
projects have all been completed, including the roles in meetings at the end of level 3. Otherwise, level 4 won't be available. Oh, another good question. Thanks, Christina. And at this point,